Welcome, everyone, to a brand new explainer. Today, we're going to do something seriously spectacular. We are going to become story time travelers. We're going to uncover exactly how our favorite authors totally manipulate the clock to keep us completely hooked on their books. You know, being an awesome reader, or a writer for that matter, isn't just about reading the words. It's about being a story detective. It's about finding that hidden architecture behind the adventure. And let me tell you, one of the most powerful, absolute top secret tools an author has is time itself.
I mean, let's be real for a second. Have you ever wanted to time travel? Like, would you go way, way back, millions of years to ride a T-Rex through a prehistoric jungle? Or maybe zip forward into the future to ride a hoverboard all the way to school? Well, real-time machines might not be sitting in our garages just yet, but authors actually have a secret time machine built right into the pages of their stories. And once you learn how to spot it, man, reading becomes a whole new adventure. It literally changes how you experience every single mystery, every hero's journey, and every epic space rebellion.
Section 1. The Straight Path Linear Plots. Let's just dive right into this first concept by looking at the normal, everyday flow of time in a story.
So if you've ever read a book that feels, just like walking down a perfectly straight path in a sunny park, you've experienced this already. We call this a linear plot. Basically, a linear plot is a story that moves in a straight line through time. It's told in the exact order that the events happen. No skips, no wild jumps back, no confusing loops, none of that. If a young wizard boy wakes up, eats his magical breakfast, and then rides his broomstick to school, we read about it exactly in that 1, 2, 3 order. Why do authors do this? Well, this straight-line approach is incredibly useful for building some really steady, exciting tension. Because we're experiencing the adventure right alongside the character, step by step. We don't know what's waiting around the next corner any more than they do.
Let's visualize this journey for a second. Imagine a clock tracking our wizard's day. You start right at the beginning of the path, say 8 a.m. when he wakes up. Then you walk steadily through the middle of the day, maybe noon when he takes his potion class, and you finish right at the end, at 3 p.m. when the final bell rings. It's clean, it's organized, and honestly, it's arguably the most common way to tell a fantastic, suspenseful story, where every single second counts.
Section 2. Hitting Rewind. Flashbacks.
But what happens when we want to jump off that perfectly straight path? Like, what happens if the author decides to reach out and just mash that rewind button on our storytime machine? Well, that is when things get really exciting, and the story suddenly becomes this massive puzzle waiting to be solved. That is when we get a flashback. A flashback is basically a moment when a story jumps back in time to show us something super important from the past. Think of it as the author's special secret tool. They literally pause the main adventure, grab you by the hand, jump backward into the past, and show you a really important clue that you completely missed. Imagine our wizard boy finding a locked, glowing treasure chest today. Just as he reaches for the lid, boom, the author hits pause, jumps backwards 5 whole years, and shows you exactly who hid the key. It instantly adds so much depth and mystery.
Seeing these two concepts side by side really makes it click. On one side, we've got our linear stories. Think of them like marching forward, step, 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 always toward the future, right? It's a driving momentum. But on the other side, we have our flashbacks. Instead of that steady march forward, the author hits pause on the present day, and suddenly, whoosh, we're sucked into a swirling vortex of the past. We leave the current timeline completely to uncover a vital piece of the puzzle. And when we finally snap back to the present, we have all this new knowledge that changes absolutely everything.
Section 3. The 3 time machine modes.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that our storytelling time machine doesn't just have one simple rewind button. It actually has 3 very different, super cool modes that authors use to manipulate how we feel about the characters and the world. We've got the internal flashback, the external flashback, and the psychological flashback. Let's take a quick, thrilling tour of each one so you can become an absolute expert at spotting them in your favorite books.
First up is the internal flashback. This is when a character remembers something from their very own life. Now, why do writers do this? Well, they use this mode to sneak us a peek into a character's own memory, to show a hidden secret, or maybe explain why they act a certain way. Let's say a character is suddenly terrified of a tiny, totally harmless puppy. An internal flashback might jump back to show us a time they were chased by a huge dog when they were little. Suddenly, that strange behavior makes perfect sense. And actually, more importantly, it makes us, the readers, feel closer to the character. By understanding their fears and their past mistakes, we build this powerful empathy that just makes the story so much more meaningful.
Okay, hold on tight and try not to get dizzy, because for our second mode, the external flashback, we are jumping way back in time. This is when the story jumps far back to show us history, often long before the main story even started. It's kind of like finding a secret history book hidden inside your adventure novel. It sets the grand stage so you understand the stakes of the world before the hero's journey even begins. Just imagine reading a story about a young farm boy joining a space rebellion, right? But suddenly, the book flashes back hundreds of years to show an epic ancient battle with star dragons. That external flashback sets up the lore and the sheer scale of the universe so you know exactly what's at risk in the present day.
Let's move to our final mode and see how this builds on the whole idea of memory, the psychological flashback. This happens when something happening right now in the present suddenly triggers a character to relive a strong memory. Notice that word, trigger. It is so powerful that it's almost like the character is physically transported back to that exact moment in time, experiencing it all over again, rather than just, simply remembering a fact.
And what actually causes this? Well, it can be as simple as a smell, or a sound, or a sight. Imagine our hero walking down a cold, rainy street after a really tough day. They smell fresh-baked cookies, and they are magically transported back to their grandmother's warm kitchen from 10 years ago. They can hear her gentle voice, see the golden sunlight streaming through the window, they can even feel the warmth of the oven. That single sensory trigger hit the psychological time machine button perfectly. It delivers a massive emotional impact that tells us exactly what the character is longing for right in that moment.
Section 4. Your turn to time travel.
So, the absolute crucial point is this. Whether a story walks a perfectly straight, linear line to build suspense, or uses a strategic flashback to hit rewind and reveal a secret, understanding these amazing tricks makes you a brilliant story detective. You now know exactly how authors control the clock to make you feel excited, surprised, or empathetic. So, now I want to turn it over to you. If you were writing a colorful, fun story today, and you had your very own story time machine, where would your flashback go? Whether it's to yesterday's lunchtime to solve the mystery of the missing sandwich, or maybe 1,000 years ago in a galaxy far away to explain the origins of a glowing magic sword, the clock is completely in your hands. Think about it, get creative, and go use linear plots and flashbacks in your own amazing stories. Thanks for exploring with me today, Storytime Travelers.